morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are in the internet world. Welcome to another edition of Golden Independence. We are here live in Bermuda. It's a beautiful day. And I want to kick this stream off with a friendly reminder. Help the channel out by hitting that like button. If you really like what you see and you want to see more, hit subscribe. If you like the topic, hit subscribe. Because we're going to be talking about the importance of Bitcoin and why it's important to save in Bitcoin now, right here, right now, 2025, right? Of course, the best time to acquire something like Bitcoin was yesterday, but the second best time to acquire it is now. And guess what? I'm just repeating and reiterating what financial advisors are saying to their clients. That's right. Multi-trillion-dollar asset managers are telling their clients to allocate just a portion of their income or of their assets, not even their income, sorry, not their income, I'm sorry, I apologize. They are not saying nothing regarding their income. They are saying to put a portion of their assets. That means what they currently have. Their assets, whether it's bonds, whether it's real estate, whether it's equity, whether it's gold, whether it's silver, whether it's in derivatives, whether it's in companies. The asset manager is advising them to allocate a portion, fraction, a small percentage into Bitcoin. You gotta let that marinate a minute. That's massive. We got somebody out there. Yeah, we got somebody out there taking risk. Risk is everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. In everything we do. The most riskiest thing, in my opinion, is not getting Bitcoin. Especially if the number one asset manager is advising people in general, just advising people in general to get on board. Why? Because in order for those companies to be successful, in order for those companies to continue to be successful, they need the masses. They still need money. So yes, of course, they're going to encourage people to just get a little bit of Bitcoin, of Satoshis even. I'm going to go further because the asset manager doesn't say Satoshis. He says Bitcoin. But I'm putting it out there right now that the verbiage is going to change. It's not there yet. Where the mainstream media is not talking about Bitcoin anymore. They are talking about Satoshis. And Satoshis is going to be the vernacular in the near future, definitely after 10 years. So we are ahead. We are way ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Still early, if you will. This is why we heard people like Michael Saylor say that was still early to Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin has another wave to go. And that wave is the Satoshi wave. The wave is the Satoshi wave. See, Satoshis are fractions of the Bitcoin. And when people become millionaires and billionaires in Satoshis, that's when you're definitely going to see a whole, like the world is going to shift again. Because it's going to be a lot of people who are going to be satillionaires. A lot of people are going to be satillionaires in the next 10 years. And all I'm asking, here's my question. Are you going to be one of them? Because the people who are involved with BitHarvest, we are on track to that legacy. See, it's different. See, this time is different. The Satoshi Renaissance is going to be different from the Bitcoin Renaissance because in the beginning, nobody knew. Not even the people who were getting involved with Bitcoin knew what Bitcoin was or what it would be. The Satillionaires have a solid advantage because not only do we know what Bitcoin is, we know what it is going to be. Whereas back in 2009, 10, 11, 12, Bitcoin was an obscure entity. Nobody knew what it was. People were vying for declarations of titles, depending on who you were listening to. And now we see those who were spot on, those like Max Kaiser, when he mentioned or stated long time, years ago, pre-pandemic, that Bitcoin was going to come into play. And that Bitcoin was going to be wanted by the nations. Governments are going to want Bitcoin. And here we are. They laughed at Max Kaiser, right? Or Max Kaiser was being laughed at in some circles, calling him crazy. But a lot of things that he stated, what Bitcoin is, what it would be, what it would become, he was saying it and stated it for a long time. And here we are. Bitcoin on the verge of being a strategic reserve. for governments. The first superpower, the United States of America, has said and stated that they are looking to enshrine Bitcoin in law. It's not done yet. Not fully. Not fully. But it's on its way on getting the government support if the bill, or maybe when the bill flows through Congress, because it was signed in as a strategic reserve by the president via executive order. But in order for it to have real solid footing, so that the next president can't just write another executive order and take it out, it's going to go through the process, the democratic process of Congress, as they say. And with that information, I say, where are you going to be when the new millionaires and the new billionaires and the future trillionaires are going to have their wealth rooted in Satoshis? Ultimately, and if you're someone who has a vision, for your life and for the future, and I'm talking about positive, and you're at an age where, or you're at a state of mind where you are detached from many of the distractions of the world. And if you're able to see the puppeteering and the engineering that's going on regarding our current situation right here in 2025, then you will come to the conclusion, the realization, the actualization that Bitcoin is the force field, is the protection of the future. It's about how do we become secure and private to continue, meaning we have the option, if we want things to be private or public, we have the option, because a future is coming very soon that you won't have an option to be private. You won't have an option to be private. That's coming very soon. And when I say private, meaning what your government doesn't know about you, i.e., when you use things in cash. For an example, they can't tell what you purchase or buy. Only you know what you spend your money on. But if you're always using an electronic device, then the powers that be can track your spending habits. They can go through your bank history and basically read and learn what type of individual you are. Well, those who know how to take custody of Bitcoin would be protected from that. And if you're already doing it, then you already know that you're well ahead of the game in that regard. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned, because I'm going to be giving more gems as to why Bitcoin is the #1 asset. And this is not financial advice. This is survival and thriving information. Information, not just how to survive in the future, it's information. Bitcoin is digital information, decentralized. That's right. It's digital information on top of everything, right? It's decentralized digital information. And guess what? You get to earn a piece of it when you take custody, because the governments are coming after it. You know, they say he who rules the communication or the ways of communication can control the war. If you ever look at any type of war, back and forth, the opposite sides would delight in disrupting the communication of its enemy, intercepting a message maybe, so that you know the enemy's plans. Well, if you have knowledge of Bitcoin, you will have knowledge of true power. The key is to have that power decentralized and to keep it amongst the hands of the people, which is what it was its original intent and design. And now that governments have their eye on it, remember, it's a lot of smart people in government too, and in banks and in corporations and in institutions. A lot of smart people. They call that the smart money. And I'm just saying, now that they are coming into it, that's this so-called smart money. Well, one of my financial mentors once said, follow the smart money, as just one of the methods to building wealth. Follow the smart money. Well, here we are. The short version, Cliff Notes, Bitcoin. All roads are leading to Bitcoin. All roads. And if you're on a Bitcoin journey, then I'll see you at the top of that Bitcoin mountain. Thanks for tuning in. Be blessed. One.